What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to FudgeMuppet. My name is Scott, and I hope you're feeling as sensational as I am. Today we have a fun little video for you guys, one that indulges those childish desires to see two fictional entities face off in an arena. I remember having a discussion with Kid in early school about Anakin Skywalker versus King Kong, and he seriously thought a big monkey would win. That's crazy, am I right? But today we've got something a little similar. We aren't going to just run an NPC battle and watch two fight it out. We are going to go through their background, their feats of power, etc, all the factors that could lead to a win or a loss. It's just a fun little video. So, who are today's contenders? I thought it would be good to get the main villains of the last two Elder Scrolls games, bringers of apocalyptic destruction, and see how they fare. If you have played Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, then you would know that Mehrunes Dagon is the primary antagonist of the game, as well as being the Daedric Prince of Destruction featured in the other games. He is our first contender, and then we have the main antagonist of Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim, Alduin the World-Eater. Both of these characters try to destroy all Elder Scrolls players hold dear 2 centuries apart. The question we are here to ask is what happens if you put these two apocalyptic beings in an arena together? Who wins? Place your bets now because we are about to dive into it. Let's fight. First off, we've got to establish who the contenders are, what they have done, what their powers are, and stuff like that. So we will start off with what they are. Everyone welcome Mehrunes Dagon, the Daedric Prince of Destruction, change, revolution, energy, and ambition. He is often associated with natural dangers and disasters like fires, earthquakes, and floods. He possesses his own plane of oblivion called the Deadlands, a barren wasteland of lava and fire, essentially hell. If you've played Oblivion, then you've already experienced this place a great many times. He also has many Daedra under his control, primarily Clanfear, Scamps, and Dremora. As a Daedric Prince, he brings a lot to the fight. Daedric princes are some of the most powerful beings in Mundus. Now in the other corner we have Alduin the World-Eater, the most powerful dragon in all existence. His name translates to destroyer, devour, master, which is fitting considering what he does and what he has done. Dragons in general are immortal beings of immense power which can only be permanently destroyed by a dragonborn through the absorption of their soul. Alduin is the so-called firstborn of Akatosh, or an aspect of Akatosh, the Aedric god of time, and one of the fundamental gods that took part in the creation of Mundus. So we again are dealing with another incredibly powerful being. In fact, a very convincing theory exists that refers to the entity as Akka containing 3 shards. Auriel, the birth of time, Akatosh, the preservation of time, and Alduin, the end of time. That's how they're all related. Each shard has a particular role in the universe, and Alduin's is to end time, to destroy the world, to consume it so it can start anew in another Kalpa, which is a new incarnation of the universe. So we got a good idea of who these guys are, but what can they do? These beings are some next level stuff, so to gain a good idea of what they can do, let's have a look at what they have done, starting with Mehrunes Dagon. Now Mr. Mehrunes has done a fair amount of dastardly deeds, being the Daedric Prince of Destruction and all. So a former spy master of Vivek, the god king of Morrowind, once managed to get a witch to summon Mehrunes Dagon to Nirn. The witch wanted to take revenge upon the Duke of Morrowind, and the spy master wanted to see Morrowind burn. Dagon managed to ransack the capital city of Mournhold in what historians call one of the most devastating attacks in the records. Before the combined efforts of Almalexia and Sothosil could stop him and banish him back to Oblivion, Mournhold was utterly destroyed and the Duke was murdered. Another time, Mehrunes attacked the Imperial Battle Spire, the plot of the game Elder Scrolls Battle Spire. So, the Battle Spire is like a space station training academy for Imperial mages anchored in the waters of Oblivion, but he was thwarted by a hero wielding some dope Daedric weapons. Then we came to what I would call his magnum opus, his masterwork, the destruction of the Septim Dynasty and the invasion of Tamriel during the Oblivion Crisis, the events that go down in Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. Now, the damage that was wreaked here was catastrophic and was the catalyst for many great events to come over the next 2 centuries. Every province of Tamriel was hit hard. The Empire was destabilized, ending the Dragonborn line of emperors. The Empire would never be the same. However, his plan to conquer Tamriel entirely was stopped by Martin Septim and the hero of Kvatch. So overall, Mehrunes has done some significant damage to Tamriel in pursuit of his ambitions. He is clearly very powerful, only defeated by Martin Septim becoming an avatar of Akatosh, or the 2 god kings in Morrowind at the time. He is clearly no pushover. But what of Alduin? Surely the bringer of end times can trump that. Well, this is where it gets a little tricky to compare because, after all, Alduin is the bringer of the end times, the World-Eater. He is almost like an element of nature, a role that has to be performed, kind of like the Vikings' Ragnarok. It is the inevitable end. So what has Alduin done before the events of Skyrim, where he begins bringing back his army of dragons and comes to fulfill his duty of end times? During the Merethic era, he did dominate the Nords of Skyrim and ruled over them with an iron fist until the Dragon Wars began and Alduin was banished forward in time. So even there, he was not defeated as such. The last Dragonborn defeats him in battle with other ancient Nordic heroes in Sovngarde, saving Tamriel, but whether he is defeated permanently, we do not know. His soul was not absorbed by the Dragonborn, so perhaps he could come again to fulfill his role. But regardless, if we look at the power of the two, what have we got? We have Mehrunes Dagon, Daedric Prince of Destruction, with an army of Daedra at his back, and we have Alduin, Eater of Worlds, most powerful dragon, with an army of dragons at his back. So, who loses? But this is the part where I have to be a bit of a knob and say it's kinda hard to tell, but I myself think that it would have to go to Alduin. The power of the thumb itself is incredible, the ability to manipulate the fabric of the universe. Dragons are immortal beings and can only be killed permanently by a Dragonborn, of which Mehrunes Dagon is not, whereas Mehrunes, if killed, will just reform in Oblivion, so the competition clearly can't be who kills who permanently, because they can't, but instead who defeats who, and personally, I still want to say Alduin. I mean, we have seen how Mehrunes dealt with the dragon at the end of Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion, aka not very well. If we wanted to look at this very plainly and looked at the Mehrunes' physical incarnation, his 4 arms, 4 weapons, pitted against Alduin flying around, calling meteor storms and breathing deathly fire, or frost if he preferred, I'd probably still say Alduin would win. At the end of the day, you can't say for sure, but this is that fun, childish kind of discussion that I used to have with my friends at school. So what do you guys think? I would say Alduin, but I want to hear some convincing theories about who wins. Maybe some really good theories about why Mehrunes Dagon would win instead. Head on down into the comments below and tell me which of these terrifying gods would win in the battle. Thanks so much for watching this little video. There is more sensational content on the way. We appreciate all your support for the channel so much. My name is Scott from FudgeMuppet, and I will be back to nerd out with you again next time.